Hello, welcome back. And we're getting into the team section of the mental framework. Let's get started. Okay, to the framework, this part, now we've done the first three, and you have pieces of your toolkit there, from the Mind Your Matters, the ecosystems, so be the ecologist, and then nurturing the nature. And keep in mind, these are things, you're going to continue to do these all throughout you using this framework, but these aren't like necessarily one and done things. And you'll realize that as we go through this section and then the next section. And so for this one, attracting the right people, because no one makes it anywhere alone, period. Yes, we do the work. You get up, you do the trainings, you turn in the work, you set your goals or set your rituals. Yes, you do all of this, but we interact with the world directly and indirectly. And so thinking of that when you think of team and attracting the right people. So what's a song for the reflection? What's a song that you put on repeat to get work done? And one of the songs I love is like, Can I Kick It? It is the Tribe Called Quest song. But can I kick it? Yes, I can. Yeah, like it's just a beat and a flow. It's just like it just goes through it, right? But what's a song for you? You could put it in the comments if you want, but also just make note of that song. And the song could be different depending on your mood, right? And so it's the song you can put on repeat. And we're going to go through attracting the right team, but I wanted to again take the step back before we dive into just jumping right into doing materials. Get set your space, turn off, put your phone on silent. I have the Apple ecosystem, so putting my phone on, I have a special setting where I don't get any notifications, at least for like, and I can turn it off, but I don't get any notifications for when I'm doing speaking engagements or like when I'm doing this training, because I know that I'm in a space now, I want to be focused and comfortable, and again, having my favorite beverage. Your presence is the present that you give to yourself, your inner child, your future self, your ideal life self. And at the same time, remember we're human. The complexities of this experience of being human means that there's times when things are going to bubble up, and there could be moments of crisis or approaching crisis, or like immediate, I need to go to the hospital crisis. So realizing there's a continuum, a spectrum that ebbs and flows and can change, but realizing that we're not alone in this. You truly aren't. And there is help. So this is our flow for the day. We've done the first two, and we're going to jump right into attracting the right team. And keep in mind, when I say right, it isn't necessarily the perfect team. It's the ideal team to move you forward for your ideal life. So getting grounded in where you're at. Where are you today at this moment? If you're watching it a couple of days from the last session, if you've just done the last session, you got to have a bathroom break, a walking break, feed the kid break, talk to your family break, whatever. You just had a break, you came back. Like, where are you? What are your three words that come from this? And if you want to share in the comments, great. If not, at least make note in your journaling or in your notes that you have for this training. And so attracting the right team and succeed. And when I say succeed, I'm very specific in terms of success by your definition. Like, who gives a crap about anybody else's team the version of success? Like, if your version of success is making X amount of dollars, but spending X amount of hours with like family and friends, or being able to have creative time or gardening time or being able to travel or whatever, your version of success, define it as you define it, in alignment with your ideal life. And back to remembering, your ideal life is unique to you. There may be similarities, but it is unique to you, just like you are unique. You're one of one. There is no one else in history or in future like you. And so thinking of success on that is defined by you. And so we talked about, if you looked at the left, there's the green circle, the yellow, and the blue that are all you. And that was done on purpose and with intention, because focusing on you then gets you in alignment with you. So then when it comes to attracting the team, it's an alignment versus you thinking of some definition of what success needs to look like, or what you have to, what you should or shouldn't be doing, and then trying to pick a team, and it's all a hot mess, right? So that's why we start with the, when you're building mental wealth, it's for that. So when I think of a team, I think of Queen Bee, I think of Beyonce, and the specific example is this Netflix special from several years ago on where she recorded at Coachella. And what was interesting is the documentary shows two performances at Coachella. There's the yellow outfits and the theme that everyone was having, and then the other night there's like a fuchsia color outfits. And there's a scene in the documentary where it cuts between both performances. And when you look at the performers, they're so exact in their performance that the overlay, there's barely, like 99% of it is the exact same thing. And when you listen to how she coordinated all this together, it was attracting the right team. So for this, it was a microcosm of this concert and this performance, but she attracted the right team, like the top dancers and the top musicians and the producers and the dance squad, and at the same time her own personal coach, because she just gave birth to twins, and so getting in performance shape, which is a whole nother level. Not my level, but her level of performance. And so she had all these people that were the right team for her to have this ideal performance. And her ideal performance was such that in 2 nights, everything was so in sync that you could overlay them. And it was, one of the best performances in one of her best performances that I've seen, and one of the best performances in Coachella history, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, because I'm a fan. But anyway, think about that team. It took time, but she pulled them right in. But she had the ideal life first, the ideal performance in mind first. And for you, thinking of your ideal life. So when you're thinking of the right people, when you think of your ideal life, the first thing, before you think of the specific people, think of the broader scope. So the bigger level of categories of people. So whether that's your mentors, so if I have my ideal life, I need to have mentors and advisors. I need to have friends of excellence that are just good at what they do and how they do it. Another category you can have here is like the friends that call me out on my BS, so that really talk to you, and they're not just around you being people who are like, yes, oh, that's right, they don't give you any pushback and no critical kind of feedback. And then of course there's your licensed professionals, so a therapist, financial advisor, physical, your doctors, your attorneys, your all these people, the groups of people that you need for your ideal life. So thinking in terms of this, like, what are the groups? So hit pause and thinking of the groups that of people that you need, and just make a list of the groups. Hit pause, give yourself a few moments, and then we'll come back. All right, welcome back. So for each group, now you have your list of groups, and then for each group, you're going to list like 5 to 10 people that could do that role. And the beauty of this is it's your team, you're the right people you're putting together. 5 to 10 people for each group. And here's a hint: they don't have to be alive. They don't have to be physically here. And if they're alive, you don't necessarily need to have met them. And so when you think of this, and the mentors is a very easy one, but I'm going to show you an example. So I'm going to show you an example on the next slide, but thinking in terms of this, what are your groups, and then the 5 to 10 people under it, and then the next piece of that is, is it a direct or indirect connection? So, for example, you'll have a mentor, and then 5 names of mentors or advisors, and then director and connect. So hit pause, and I'm going to show you an example. Actually, before you hit pause, I'll show you an example. So here's an example of what you're going to put together. So the group of people, so I have friends of excellence. So the specific person is Nate, who I mentioned earlier, using him throughout. So Nate, he's one of those people when he says, how can I help? He truly means he wants to help. He's not doing it for the press or anything like that. And he's a community builder. And he loves like helping the community. He's a direct connect because I see him at least once every couple of weeks and spend like a long Saturday with him and his family. And then a mentor would be, so a group of mentors, James Baldwin, the author, the activist, the James Baldwin. And he is an indirect connection. Because he's a mentor through like watching how he lived and watching how he made the move to France at the time during kind of the height, starting to be the height of the civil rights movement in the United States. And but also listening to his interview and realizing like he realized there was a point where he needed to come back. And then the words that he writes in the interview. So he's an indirect mentor. So for your list, this is what you're going to do. You're going to have the group of people, the specific person, and then write if they're a direct or indirect connection, and hit pause, and then we'll come right back to the next section, the next part of this train. All right, so now again we're going from like general to specific. So now the focus is on creating momentum, like we want to go, if you want to live your ideal life sooner, you got to build momentum, right? And these kind of things build on themselves. And so this piece of your toolkit is really one of the important pieces, because you can know yourself well, but again, no one gets anywhere by themselves. There's help from other people. So you're going to take an area first that looking at your ideal life and the gap that we saw in the first, like for me, it was where I lived and where I want to live. And so focus on that section. So you build the understanding of how to do this action, this practice. And with the next step is, what's one step you can do to go from your current life to your ideal life with the help of this person? And so if you remember, when I look back on my ideal life, team, work at home, so home, Italy, US, living in Portland. So when I think of like the gap to build momentum is to go, and Nate can help as a friend. He's a friend of excellence, although it's community, but also I know that to move closer to my ideal life, I need to understand what it's like living in other countries and doing those things. So the action is to talk to Nate and his family about how they're operating, getting dual citizenship, or what's it like to they have family in Italy. So what's it like to run a business in Italy? Because his family runs a couple of businesses in Italy. So understanding that allows me to build momentum. And so you see, you've gone from broad, like, here are the people that I need help with to get me to my version of my ideal life, or my ideal life. Here are the specific people. Are they direct or indirect? And then here's the action that I need to do. The tool is in this piece. And so the attracting the right people, you attract through your action. Because if people don't know what you want and what you're trying to do in the world, how can they help you? It's like if someone asks you like, how much money do you need to go from X to Z, from where you are to your ideal life? Well, first I need to pay rent next month. That's the most important thing. Well, how much is rent? I don't know. Well, how can I help you if you don't know? So that's a basic example, but understanding, again, we're flowing through this to build momentum. So thinking about that, think about like the person, and as you move through this, you're going to do that for each kind of piece, but start with one. So you build the momentum of understanding how to go, oh, here's the gap. Here's the person that can help. Here's how they can help. Here's the action I need to take so I can receive the help. And them helping is a gift, right? Let them allow them the gift of helping, because that's also something that is important as well. And so remember, as you're doing this, again, grace and helping yourself move through this and understanding that you've been who you are longer than who you're becoming and the person you're becoming that lives your ideal life. So yes, have the intention on working and focused and putting all this effort in, but also the grace of understanding this isn't going to happen overnight. And when you're thinking about building mental wealth and going through uncertain times, it's these solid things that you're doing, because uncertain times are guaranteed to happen. And it's not looking at it from a negative standpoint. It's like things are going to happen. So focusing on this, attracting the right people, piece of your toolkit. The person isn't a tool. The actions around how you interact with the person is the piece of the toolkit. And then the knowledge you gain, because now you have a resource. Like, you've done an action. Once your action has a result, the result is a resource to move forward. So up next, learning how to make adjustments, and that's we're gonna tie in pretty much all of the things that we've just started before we go to the last section of legacy. But next up, we're going to talk about making adjustments. And with making adjustments, this is the part that you will be in tune with for the majority of the time when you're thinking through working through your toolkit. So we'll see you in the next segment.